That's one way I can help her to get in her own feet on the ground. And so I do it. Okay, how about children? I don't know about this area, whether children are learning online or if they're in person. Some children have a very hard time learning anything online. Younger children need to have interaction and experiences. Their learning is not intellectual. Theirs is more experiential. So young children would find it very difficult to learn anything online. Special needs children need the interaction with people. They need a hug once in a while. They need affirmation. They need some structure. And online is not meeting their needs. And so those children are having a very hard time. Can we help them in some way? I know that this Janice couldn't afford to have cable or has to go to her other daughter's, his aunt's house to do his classes. So families are having a hard time, either now with COVID or just in general. And when the two add up to the same, one adds on to the other, then it is very difficult for those families. So you know who is in your life that you can help in whatever way. Some are food insecure, especially if they have lost their jobs. Some are isolated, especially older people who are afraid to leave their homes. Can we make a phone call, to let them know that we're thinking of them? If you're if you're active on the computer, you might want to think about political advocacy. Can you follow what is going on in the state or in the nation that impacts people that are on the lower rungs, or people who are on the fringes, people who need extra help? Can you look at, keep track of the legislation that is related to them? And let your legislator know. If, advocate for them, be the voice for the voiceless. That would be a good thing. There was a prisoner. I worked in the prison in Greensburg for a while until they closed down. And I went on Sunday morning and I provided the music for them, and then talked to the residents afterwards. So there was one day when there was a guy sitting there with a box in the lobby, and he was being released that day. And he was so excited, he didn't even have his breakfast. He just wanted to get out. And so I talked to him. His bus wouldn't be there until the afternoon. So he was missing breakfast and lunch and sitting in the lobby of the prison when he wanted to be free. So I went to Burger King and I supersized the meal. I've never supersized a meal before. It looked kind of like lethal. Lots of grease and lots of salt, but I supersized it for him. And I took it to him in the lobby, and he was so grateful. And he said, well, what can I do for you to say thank you? I said, there's nothing that he could do for me. But I said, when you get your feet on the ground, you do something good for somebody. It's like paying it forward. I don't know if you have an Aldi's in a grocery store in Coral. Aldi's has, and then you take your card out, and when you put your card back, you can take your quarter back. Well, we have this paying it forward going on down in Greensburg, and I would guess that it has caught on here, where when somebody comes out of the store with a card, they just hand it to the next person. They say, put your quarter away, I don't want it. And so they paid a quarter, and they didn't get their quarter back, but they did something good for somebody. They scored good. And God smiles, and they can smile. So if you're anything like me, you make, at the beginning of Lent, you make a master plan. You think of all the things that you need to change in your life. More prayer. I have a whole master plan. And in 2 days' time, the whole thing is scratched. I can't keep up with it. It's too much. So we don't need a master plan. We need to look at our prayer. Can we make that a little bit more? Just a little bit more. A little step. We need to look at our fasting. Is there something we can do? Just a little step that will help us to be a better member of the team. And then almsgiving, just asking God to keep us aware of the needs that are around us. Because people don't come out and say what their needs are. We have to see and guess. Be able to understand where they are in their life and what you can do to relieve some of the stress. So those are little steps. They are the master plan. And if we miss a day, it's okay. What it does when we miss a day and we don't do what we planned to do, then it makes us humble. And that's a score for good. When we realize that we can't do it, God has to work with us. And we have to work with God. So it has to be working together. Our dependence on God to be able to be successful with that. So this good day is okay. It's a score for goodness because it helps us to recognize our dependence. I would like to tell you about a friend of mine who just recently died. His name is Ken. I met him because he couldn't handle his money. So I paid his bills for him. He didn't have too much going for him intellectually or talent-wise or, support system from his family. He was kind of a drifter. He didn't hold a job. He had a few odd jobs, but he didn't hold a job for very long. And he was homeless now and then. That was Kim. But he had a big heart. Such a big heart. Everybody who knew him loved him. He didn't have an enemy. He didn't have a stranger in his life. He always lived his life for good. As far as the world was concerned, there was nothing to Kim. He was on fringes. The world would see, if you look at your paper, the world would see a cat in the mirror. But what God saw was a tiger. God saw the goodness of his heart and all the good that he did for other people, the generosity. So what we need to do doesn't take a lot of intelligence, doesn't take a lot of talent, doesn't take money. It might not even take time. What it takes is a generous heart. And God is delighted with a generous heart. And God will not pass up a generous heart. God will see that somebody with need, a need that you can fulfill, is placed in front of you to fulfill that need. All right? So we just give our heart to God in all generosity. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 6, Jesus himself says, "Happy are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness." That is right relationship, righteousness. It's right relationship. So it's right relationship with God and with self and with others. That's prayer, fasting, and honest giving. So Lent just gives us a jump start on the things that really do matter anyway. The rest of that sentence that Jesus gave us is, "For you will be satisfied." A person who is satisfied smiles and is happy. When you're happy, you smile. All right? So I want to thank Father Michael Manning for giving me a smile in Lent, in my Lent. And I hope that Father Michael Manning has given you a smile in your Lent. Remember that it doesn't take a lot. It takes little steps, little scores for goodness. And that's all it takes, every day. When we think of 40 days, and we look back on that, where we can look down and we can say, see how far I have come. See what I have been able to do. See what I have been able to give to God as scores for goodness. See what we've been able to do, God and ourselves, for goodness. So thank you. I hope that you have a smile in your Lent, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we do want to thank Sister for coming and sharing the beautiful thoughts that cause us all to realize that scoring for God makes for a smile, both in heaven and among us. So thank you for those observations, because they put grace near to us. And grace is what we're all looking for during Lent, especially in the tough year that we've had thus far. So this is a good thing for us. So thank you for coming and sharing the wisdom of your 50 years in religious life too. It's a delight to know that you're happy in loving God and following the Lord Jesus so valiantly, courageously, and devotedly for a long time. Sister would be happy to entertain any thoughts you might have as you're here, not in some formal way, but if you'd like to come out and share any thoughts with her, she'd be very happy to do that.
Some thoughts that either that picture or some of the thoughts that I shared brings to you. We would like to hear those thoughts. Do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share?
Well, just the other day, I was a recipient of somebody's really good work. I was at our store up at Martin's, and they have it's a grocery store you go through, and for every $100 that you spend, I was going through, and I put my card in and so forth, and the lady behind me had a great big cart, loaded up top and bottom. And she said, do you ever use your points card again. So whenever she goes through, I get points.
Okay.
She said she doesn't, she's not there that often, but it's in mind that I'm sure it's 10 cents off the gallon, you know.
Very nice,
I was happy about it.
very nice.
She was happy, you know, even underneath her mask, you could tell she was happy about it.
Good, thank you for sharing that. That's a wonderful act of kindness by doing that. Okay. Could you hear her? Okay. Anything that you would like to share?
It was a long time ago, probably 10, 15 years ago. My wife and I were living in California, Sacramento area. We've taken two of our great-grandchildren to the beach. And being happy, I'm keeping close watch as they're going out in the water. And I just wasn't in the mood to have a good time. And while I'm watching this young, might have been autistic boy, he's probably about 5, and I had my T-shirt on. It was from the West Coast Walk of Life. It said lifeguard, a little picture of a fetus in the center of the Red Cross. Well, maybe he thought I was a lifeguard from the beach. I don't know. But he comes over and grabs out my hand because he's a little bit scared about the surf and the cold water. You know, I didn't make a big deal. And run back and grab my hand. It's okay, but I'm watching my grandkids because that's my primary focus. And later on, his mom comes by and says, "Thank you for all that." And I said, "Hey, we're all in it together. We got to help each other as parents and grandparents." Because I remember lots of times as a kid, aunts and uncles were always helping out mom and dad, and you have to be involved. You just need to get a strike. You got to be there to help. Just because somebody has your folks and not you, you are going. That was a golden.
That was a golden moment. Thank you so much for sharing that. You have no idea how much of an impact you had on that little kid. That maybe doesn't have a male role model in their life. I certainly didn't have one present at the moment. And you were there to reassure. And he always knew that he could come back to you. Okay, good stories. Anything else good that has happened?
On one of the knitting blogs, the lady wrote in and she said, during Lent, we all have too much. We really do. Too many clothes, whatever. And she said, because it's a 40-day deal, you just get rid of one thing per day during Lent. There's some clothes that you don't want. Yeah, really.
That's a way of fasting. To simplify our life.
And it's also almsgiving.
Yes, it's also almsgiving because you give them to a second-hand clothing store. Okay, great. Wonderful idea. Anything else?
Well, there's the one that I don't quite ever make. The Jewish way of doing their Passover or Lent. But they have to clean their house from top to bottom in one room a week or something. Life seems to get in the way somehow, and you don't quite, I don't know how they do it, but yeah.
Okay. So cleaning house is a way to I don't know, shape up our own lives a little bit better. Okay, I'd like to take a few minutes, if I can, to tell you about Seton family. Seton family is named for Elizabeth Seton, Saint Elizabeth Seton, who is the founder of our community. And Seton family is an organization of lay people who want to be in community with each other, so they get to know each other. They pray together. They are encouraged in their spirit, taking their spirit of Elizabeth Seton and Vincent de Paul. I don't know if you know Vincent de Paul. But taking that into the world, into their families, or their neighborhoods, or where they work, or just any place in their lives, to do good things for people. And so if you're interested in the Seton family, I am starting a group that will meet by Zoom. This on the computer. So if you're interested in that, talk to me, and we'll get you signed up. Okay? All right, thank you.
So thank you once again, Sister, for being with us. It's a pleasure to welcome you here from Greensburg to this far outpost in the north. She actually got a little lost and went up 119 all the way to Climber before she came back. So we're glad you came back. I just want to point out the other topics that are in front of us, okay? Right now, we're working on a topic for next week on handling loss in our lives. And so I'm still trying to confirm with that speaker that he or she will be here. We'll also do one evening devoted to the kind of prayer that's called Taizé prayer. It comes out of a monastery in France that's ecumenical, where people realized they could pray with one another, even though they were from different backgrounds. And so they prayed in multiple languages by singing very simple little chants. It's a lovely meditative way of praying. I think Sister even had some brochures from the college on that. We will also have an evening devoted to caregiving, because many of us find ourselves, I myself, an elderly father, my sister deals with my elder, you deal with people and you become the primary reference for them. We need to do some thinking within ourselves and within our spiritual lives about how we handle that and what God might be expecting of us and we are expecting of ourselves. We're also going to do an evening devoted to thinking about two saints, I wish it were Francis. No, it's St. Joseph and St. Patrick. And we'll be doing that in the week of the 17th, that's a Wednesday. But that's the week that both feast days occur. And we'll be doing that both with our youth and with some adults who will assist us in thinking about the virtues and the holiness of those two saints who stand out in our Christian Catholic life. So we're hoping these become pleasant little opportunities for us to reflect. I thank those of you who came to church tonight. I suspect the popularity of this will increase as Lent goes on and it gets a little brighter outside. So thank you for being here, and God bless you and keep you safe as you go home this evening. Anything we can in terms of a free will offering, so if you'd like to leave something in the basket at the back, please do so, okay? God bless you, and go home with peace. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.